Every generation gets the chance to shape the world. But the challenges faced today are becoming more complex with the pace of economic, social, and technological change. The world is defined by the people who live in it. So we believe the solution is to develop responsible, entrepreneurial, and skilled young leaders today who will make a positive impact for our future. Since 1948, we've been providing young people with practical leadership experiences across the world, where they have the freedom to fail and the chance to overcome challenges they face. A space where they can discover what really matters to them and realize their potential for the future. We give young people a chance to see the world, because if you can see it, then you can start to understand it. And if you understand it, then you can start to change it. For over 70 years, we've provided more than 1 million young people with life-changing opportunities together with like-minded organizations. But we can't stop now. Because only when we create more of these leadership stories together will we truly see a remarkable impact on the world. History has shown us what just one great leader can do. So imagine what a billion great leaders could do. This is why we do what we do for youth.
Hello, how are you doing? Hope you had a good Saturday. And let me assure that from now on, it's going to be even better than what it was earlier on in the day. Now, in Sri Lanka, we in fact greet each other by saying Aibowan, you know that. And the meaning of Aibowan is wish you long life, or in the Sri Lankan language, Obe Ayusha Boho Veva. Now, having long life is good, but I would say it's not good enough because long life has to be complemented with quality long life. Now, when we talk of quality life, the quality of life has been severely impacted, adversely affected in recent times due to this COVID-19 pandemic, locally as well as globally. Now, what do we do about that? Do we just curse the darkness, or do we light a candle in our capacity and try to have a little bit of light around us? Now, the good thing is that we can overcome the situation because we, or you and I, have the magic in us. It is in us. And it's simply about bringing out the magic in you. Now, that's exactly what the title of this webinar is. This is a series of web seminars organized by the AIESEC in the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. And there were two previous webinars, and this is the final one. And the organizers have become really ambitious to make sure that this goes very successfully because it is organized with a very special purpose. Now, today's webinar is titled Bringing Out the Magic in You. Now, to bring out the magic in you, you can do two things. One is to, use your own self-motivational skills and bring out the best in you or the magic in you. And the other way is to, in fact, learn from people, listen to people, and their insights and their knowledge, experience, and also their advice can definitely help you to bring out the best in you. Now, today we have on this live stream, we have four very eminent personalities, and I'm sure their insights, their advice, and their thoughts on different topics and the different questions that we're going to pose to them will definitely help you bring out the magic in you. Now, firstly, it is my duty, and it is definitely something very important to do, and that is to introduce them one by one to you watching us on this live stream. Okay, so let me first get to the first panelist. former official Sri Lankan youth delegate to the United Nations, the Honorable Speaker for the 4th Youth Parliament of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, former Asia Regional Representative of the Commonwealth Student Association, motivational speaker, is a leadership trainer, success coach, visiting lecturer of the University of Peradeniya on leadership, and one of the 10 outstanding young persons in Sri Lanka 2015. That's one of the top award recipients in 2015. We have Mr. Sachinder Dulanjana. I was Sachinder. I was Sachin. Okay, next we are moving on to a beautiful lady, Senator of the 2nd Sri Lankan Youth Parliament, winner of the 2011 Miss Universe Sri Lanka, winner of the 2013 Miss Asia Pacific World Sri Lanka, Senator of the 2nd Sri Lankan Youth Parliament, as I told you, founder of Stephanie Sirivardhana Foundation, and she's a presenter, a singer, a dancer, and what else are you? You are everything, right? So we have the beautiful Stephanie Sirivardhana. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Bohan. Hi, everyone. Hi, Clifford.
My apologies. It should be Stephanie Sirivardhana Veeraman, to be exact. Okay, welcome to the program. And moving on, we'll be having Mr. Vivek Atre. He'll be joining us shortly, and I will move on to his introduction the moment he joins us. But moving on to our next panelist, we have an architect, a model, a TEDx speaker, Femina Miss India 2018 second runner-up, co-founder of the Enchante Academy, and the Rajni Gandhar Pearl Miss Goodness Ambassador, the beautiful Shreya Rao.
Namaste, namaste to all of you. Yes, namaste from India to all of you from Sri Lanka. It's an honor to be here. I believe there's been a small glitch. Yes, Clifford. Namaste to all of you, and so honored to be here. Clifford, you're on mute. You're still on mute.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we ready to go? Okay. So you can send us your comments or your questions, and we'll take it towards the end of the program. And let's get on to the questions. Are you ready? Okay, Steffi, we have the first question for you, right?
Okay.
Now, you wanted me to ask the question very fast. So I'm going to ask it very fast and you're going to respond very quickly, okay? How many hours of time do you spend on social media?
How many what, sorry?
How many hours of time do you spend on social media daily?
Oh my God. Since a lot of my work is also on social media, I would say about 3-4 hours a day.
Okay. Now there's a reason why I asked the
timer
question.
as well, and the Facebook timer, but it still hasn't slowed me down.
Okay. The reason I asked you is that our youth, you know, they occupy a lot of their time on social media, and there are new trends that are coming up in social media. Now, this could be positive as well as negative. Okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, what do you think the best response to this situation to ensure an effective change in terms of social media, and how best can we use this to make our lives more and more positive as youth?
Well, I think, first of all, with using social media, I think it's very important that everybody understands that what you see is not always reality. So to take everything with not just a grain, but like maybe a handful of salt. Being in the entertainment industry, we know how much just one image, we know how much thought goes into it, how it's doctored, so what you might see one thing, but it's not necessarily reality. And then you have youth who emulate and who idolize different personalities around the world, thinking that is their real state. So be careful about that. There are also so many trends, like we saw that, I think it was very unfortunate, the blue whale trend where a child actually lost their life, where it was uh, a series of challenges where the final challenge was where you take your own life
Yes, yes,
online,
very
which is,
frightening.
it's terrible. And now the thing is, with corona, everyone has switched online. I mean, look at our panel discussion today. We get to connect with Shreya all the way in India, which is amazing. So there are so many positives, but there are also negatives. So that means there's a lot more predators online. You need to be very careful. So don't be a sponge when it comes to social media. Don't just absorb everything. Think of it critically. Use your cognitive skills and analyze what's going on. It's very important that you just
Stephanie, looks like something went wrong.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's my
okay.
internet.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video where there's two kids and the one in the middle, and they swipe both their legs and they fall down? So
That was
see, these are,
disaster. Yeah.
yeah, it's totally disaster. A few kids got paralyzed after this. So I'm sure everyone who's watching us is, a lot more mature and wouldn't do something like that. But look out for your circle. Look out for the kids around you. Look out for your friends. You never know, in a moment of weakness, they might be susceptible to follow one of these cool trends. Um, but that being said, look at Blackout Tuesday. What's happening in the States right now? We are all making and showing and taking a global stance. And Blackout Tuesday is a great example of how we can also voice our opinions and hopefully create a positive change in the world. Yeah, so with social media, there's a lot of power that comes with it. But like the great Spider-Man's uncle said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think all of us, especially, Shreya, Sachinder, Clifford, you, me, people who, sit on panels like this, we have a responsibility. Also, as well as everyone watching, we all have a responsibility to help others, to analyze and not just be sponges. Did I kind of answer your question, Clifford?
Thanks. Thanks, Sophie. Thanks a lot. I would like to move next to Sachin. Sachin, then. Now, we know and we very well feel that the engagement of the youth is very, very important, especially in this pandemic situation for the development of their particular societies and the country. Now, just we would like you to elaborate on how the youth can create a more positive impact in this exercise.
Thank you, Clifford. That's a very important section when we think about the recovering process. And also thinking about recovering, we should not forget that we haven't come out of the situation completely yet. The risk is still there, because sometimes people might think, okay, now we are end up with the global this pandemic, and now we are okay to move like before. No, it's not. But we are trying to recover and trying to adhere to the new normal, and trying to maybe do something productive and try to come up with the productive ways to manage this situation. So in that case, I think as a youth advocate, I strongly believe that in any case, young people need to spearhead the process, being the pioneers of it, and they need to take the lead. In this case, I know that at the moment, the ground reality is youth are more frustrated because most of the youth lost their jobs, and also many young people, their education is disrupted and their daily routines are interrupted. So in that case, youth are frustrated. But still, in order to recover this process, we need to support each other. In simple terms, like if you are a young employee of an organization, rather than just demanding your salary, if you can support your employer to come out of this situation, it would be really great. And also, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of social media users here. So I'm pretty sure during last few weeks, you got a lot of requests from your friends to like their online business pages and to share their pages and to subscribe their YouTube channels. You can do small things to help them, because at the end of the day, if you think about the country's development process and young youth engagement, I think it's like a jigsaw puzzle. On one side is the country map, on the other side is the person image of a young person. So it's better to work on our personal capacity and the things which we can do in our own circles, and then contribute to the macro picture or the bigger picture. So in that case also, I would like to emphasize of the importance of being proactive, because most of the times we are trying to react the situation. We are controlled by the situation or the circumstances around us. So being proactive is something really important. Then someone might question, okay, how can we be proactive? We can't like focus everything which comes along our way. But I would like to share one of the practices I was doing since my childhood. So whenever I was given a task to perform or activity to be done, I did this scenario building. Okay, what if this go wrong? Okay, what is the worst case scenario? In simple example, if I'm in the middle of my writing my assignment, I'm working on my computer and I haven't like not saved it anywhere else. I'm working on my assignment on my computer. The worst case scenario would be my computer might break down. So in that case, I am screwed up because that deadline is also approaching. So in that case, if I have given a thought about that situation, I might have saved it somewhere else, maybe in a Google Drive. Even now, when I'm joining this discussion, I always had a backup with me, because it's technology. I don't know what will go wrong. So likewise, it's not about being negative, but try to build different scenarios, try to see the different probabilities, and take some proactive measures. It's really important in dealing with such situation. And also, positive mindset is something really important. Even though you are very hardworking, very committed, but still, if you don't have the positive mindset, I think it's really hard to carry on your whatever things you do. I would like to conclude in like sharing a simple story with you. So once upon a time, there was these two merchants. They were shoe sellers. They were into footwear production. So they wanted to find some new markets, and they had a discussion with each other, and they wanted to find new markets. So after a few days of journey, they went to a new island, and surprisingly, in this island, nobody was wearing footwear. Nobody wears shoes. So one of the friends was like really frustrated. He was really disappointed. Why the hell we came here? Nobody wears shoes. How can we sell our shoes to these people? Whereas the other friend was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I found a full new market. This is a brand new market for me. Nobody wears shoes, so I can sell shoes to everyone. It's just like that. It's not about being like blindly positive, but trying to see the opportunities. But if you are not being positive, and if you try to deal with the situation, then you might miss the opportunities which are around you. You might simply miss the low-hanging fruits around you. So I think it's something, when we come out of the situation, recovering this situation, I think you need to be positive minded, and you need to be proactive, and also you need to support each other. So and also when it comes to decision making, you need to make decision on certain things, because most of the time, just imagine, I would like to take a little example. So just imagine you are doing your research thesis. If you are a university student, you are doing your research thesis and your deadline is approaching, and now your friends are inviting you to go for outing. Now you are in a dilemma. Okay, whether I should go for the outing, I need to have fun with my friends, but still I need to submit my research thesis. In that case, most of the times what happens is, yes, your research thesis might make you stay at home, but you don't make a decision. But even you stay at home, still your mind will be with your friends. Your mind will go outing with your friends. So that's why if you are in a dilemma, make sure that you make a decision, a calculated decisions, thinking about all the circumstances and all the consequences. I think if we can think about these few things as individuals, because if we build ourselves as individuals, ultimately, automatically, our country development will be also impacted. So that's my take on that.
Thanks. I think lots of food for thought. Well, let's reboot. That's the title of this webinar. And in fact, this is organized to reach the unreached, a series of webinars, and this is the final one, titled Bringing Out the Magic in You. And we told you that we'll be having 4 panelists, and we introduced to you 3 of them, and we have the privilege of welcoming into our midst, or to the live stream, our next panelist as well. So he's a motivational speaker, and also a speaker at TEDx Talks as well, a founding member of the Chandigarh Literati Society, and an Indian author. He has authored 3 books titled The Finding Success within, finding success within, and move on, Bunny, and also Doobie G bounces back. Is also an ex-Indian Administrative Service officer. Vivek Atre, welcome. Namaste.
Thank you.
Ayubowan.
Thank you, Clifford.
Vivek.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you all, Stephanie, Shreya, and Sachinda.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
All the S's and
We were getting a little
Right.
jealous. Vivek, we were getting a little jealous because we saw you sipping a nice hot cup of coffee.
No, I'm having mango juice.
Oh, now we're even more jealous.
Even more jealous. That's much better than coffee. Okay,
Yeah.
so now with a little bit of mango juice energy, Vivek, my next question is to you. Okay.
Sure.
Now, in your opinion, after this pandemic becomes neutralized, obviously we don't know when, but we hope and pray that it will, the effects of this pandemic will neutralize very, very soon. And what is the first step that we should take as a global community so that we are better prepared for the future and also while building strong leaders across the globe?
Thank you, Clifford. Good question. And first of all, let me thank AIESEC for inviting me. AIESEC in Sri Lanka, AIESEC in Chandigarh, AIESEC in India. And very happy to be with such illustrious speakers, Stephanie and Shreya. Shreya, whom I know, we have met as TEDx speakers. In Vadodara, we were both on the stage, not together, but one by one as TEDx speakers. And Sachinda, it was nice listening to your ideas when I joined. I had a webinar just before this, so I had to join by 4:15. I'm glad I joined on time, according to my schedule. And Clifford, your question is very relevant. So let's take this in two ways. First, let's take the internal part of it, the inner part of it, and let's take the exterior or outer part of it, okay? So if we look at the inner part of it, it's more important. What are we doing with ourselves? It's a reminder from the divine that something was going wrong in the planet, in the world. In the last 20 years, perhaps mankind has not covered itself with glory in terms of how we were handling the planet, how we were handling our resources, how we were behaving with others. Perhaps we were going overboard in enjoying the materialistic pleasures and not really thinking about our inner progress, inner journeys, our spiritual life, our calmness, our balance. Were we meditating? Were we contemplating? Were we introspecting? Or were we just running mindlessly? So I think a lot of us were running mindlessly and the whole world was just zipping around and creating havoc with the environment. So in my motivational speaking role, I must say that all of us have the capacity to improve. And all of us must come out of this pandemic not worse than before or the same as before, but better than before. And how can we be better than before? By introspecting and finding out where are our faults. As a personal measure, if I look at myself, I used to be quite an angry kind of person. And you won't believe it now, Shreya knows me a little bit, but I don't lose my temper anymore. And not just because of lockdown, but over the years, as a Scorpio, I was known to flare up and flare down. But it just didn't go away like that. I started meditating. Now, meditation can be a part of any religion, or it doesn't have to be a part of a religion. It can be a personal journey. So meditation brings out the calmness in me. And it also brings out the creativity in me. If I am calm, then I'll be more creative. If I'm not calm, then I'll be restlessly minded and looking at why is this happening? Why is that happening? Complaining, running, and then not being nice to others. If my mind is calm, then I'm actually, the quote is by Paramahansa Yogananda. He's the author of the autobiography of a yogi. It's a world famous book. It is available in Sri Lanka and all countries of the world. He says, be calmly active and actively calm. Now, this is my favorite quote of all time. Be calmly active and actively calm. So being calmly active means that we are doing our job, doing our work, but the mind is calm. And being actively calm means that we work on our calmness. We take it as a kind of project that I am going to be a more calm individual tomorrow. I have to work hard to eliminate my disturbances, my restlessnesses, my frequency of losing my temper. And on the global level, let's talk at the exterior level now. There are many things for humankind to look at. Firstly, we don't need to be wedded to technology. Technology is a facilitator. Going forward, we will be using screen time, we will be using webinar technology, and we will be using a lot of gadgets. I speak on artificial intelligence versus human creativity. I know for a fact that in 10 years, maybe a chip is going to be planted in our wrist, and that chip might make us automatons, and our phone is going to be part of our wrist. So, what is going to happen? We become less human and more automated. But if we retain our human element, the ability to carry out conversations, the ability to empathize with society. I'm sure Stephanie and Shreya were asked in their pageants this question related to empathy. Every pageant that I have watched, that question is always there. And the one who wins it is always the one who answers it the best, no matter how beautiful you are. It depends on how you answer that question. So the thing is that empathy really matters. It's not just a matter of chance that all these points come up. Empathy for others who are not like us, different countries, different economic strata, poorer people, injured people, not even fully fit people, disabled, special people. So we really need to think differently and creatively and empathetically to improve our own selves as human beings and as a community. I won't give a longer answer at this point. I'll go back to you, Clifford, and I'll be happy to come back with more points later.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Vivek. And now I would like to switch to Shreya. She's been quiet for quite some time, listening very carefully. And Shreya, just tell us, according to what you think, in this kind of sudden, unexpected situations like COVID-19, what do you think the youth can get engaged productively during these kinds of sudden situations, unexpected situations, and in which way they could come back to their ordinary lives with similar responsibilities that they were holding? What are your opinions?
Thank you for the question, Clifford, and how beautifully all of us are trying to sum up certain things. So taking all the three eminent speakers' ideas into my plate and summing it up for the youth to understand what they could actually do. Like, we know the situation we're in and we want to move forward, or we want to do something about it. The most productive way is, I believe, I will take the question in two parts. One is what are the productive ways, and the second part is about how making this ordinary life, I think, to carry on the ordinary life post-COVID. So answering the first part, I believe that we can ideally put in our activities into three sectors. One is with passion, the activities that we do for a purpose, and the third, doing it with profession. So dealing with passion, something that kickstarts your day, something that excites you so much that you want to get out of that bed and go and do it. Right now I'm able to indulge in activities that I think I probably left in my 9th grade because of my examinations, and we've become these serious students and you don't want to take part in any sports or any other activities. But to be honest, as I finished architecture, I had to jump into the pageantry. I did jump into pageantry, and I still didn't find so much time to do certain things like dancing or sketching. That was something that really removed stress out of my mind, and probably just listening to certain music or learning certain songs. So I think these are some things that we often forget. So going back to that passion filled activities. The second thing, I think, profession. All of us, either being students or having a job or owning a business, a company, I believe that it is the right time. None of us get this actual break where we can go back and introspect, like Vivek sir mentioned, that we don't get time to introspect and see what were we 5 years ago, and is this where we wanted to be now at this stage, or 5 years down the lane, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue this, or do I want to break free and get into a profession that really pulls me in? So I think it's time to upgrade. If yes, if you're in the right place you wanted to be, not the COVID situation, but if you're in the right place with professional aspect, if you're studying what you wanted to, then it's the right time to learn. Go Google online classes. I've done almost about 3 courses. So I think it's time to upgrade. If no, then think of what changes you can bring if you're not in the situation that you wanted to be professionally, or you want to change your university. Now is the time. And third, and one of the most important, I think, purpose. All of us often forget that we have a purpose beyond just wanting to earn certain amount or buy a particular car, or career wise earn so much and put up a company. I think the main purpose is to be happy. All of us want to be happy, and it can happen through different mediums, not just professionally or through passion, but finding your purpose. I think simple gardening, or I think teaching kids in the locality, or feeding the strays. I think fitness and meditation, like sir said, and how beautifully, I think, about opportunities. Sachinda had mentioned that story. It was wonderful. I think you have to look for opportunities where you find purpose. It can be for within, or it can be for the exterior. So summing up, with these 3 activities, you can always list down, right now, list down what you want to do for passion, what you want to do for purpose, and what you want to do for profession. And you know what? It'll be the best if all 3 are the same. It could always happen, that you find everything in just one platform. But otherwise, do filter out your activities. And if we're talking about the ways to get back to an ordinary life, I think, as rightly put down by Vivek sir, why do you want to go back to an ordinary life? I think we are on a phase where we can actually go back to an extraordinary life. And I truly believe that, because I think extraordinary comes because you have extra time, you have that extra space right now. And why do you have to see it in a negative manner? Like Sachinda said, you can always see it in a positive manner. As social media, like Stephanie ma'am mentioned, that there is a positive and negative, and right now it's that time where we look at the positives and go ahead and do something extraordinary, and just not go back with the same job or the same mindset. Improve your skin, improve your body, go back to a life which, it's the time to change those things. And you don't have to look back to 2020 in grief. Maybe to my kids, I will tell them that it was a hard time, but you know what? I utilized it maximum. So I will never look back at it in a sad manner. I will say that I've kept myself safe, and I've improved myself and made some life-changing decisions. So if that answers the question, Clifford.
Yeah, wonderful. In fact, though we call this a pandemic or a disaster situation, the COVID-19 situation, it has definitely, as all of you, almost all of you said, it has definitely brought us a lot of messages and given us a lot of new ways of thinking, and definitely to a certain extent, it has become a blessing as well, because it has given rise to a lot of opportunities that we need to grab, and also definitely bring out the magic in you. All right. My next question is going to Sachin once again. Now, this COVID-19 pandemic has definitely taken a huge chunk of our time, whether you like it or not. And this time, maybe you used it to, in fact, evaluate and focus on your career path. And also at the same time, this definitely would have given you a lot of opportunity to look back, go back in time, and in fact analyze and think about this the dream, so-called dream job or dream uh, passion or vocation that you are, chasing after, this kind of things would have definitely crossed your minds. So, Sachin, what is your opinion with regard to this situation? Focusing on your having enough time to focus on your career and also looking back and thinking of that dream career or your dream job that you're trying to pursue. And in fact, these are two different situations. What are your opinion on that?
That's a very important question, Clifford. I think the second part of your question, I think it was already answered by Shreya. So life is, I think it's a total package. You can't compromise your happiness when you're chasing your dream, when you are chasing your educational goals or career goals. You can't compromise your life happiness, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, so what's the point of like achieving something? So it's basically, I would come to that part later, but I would like to share another story because I'm really fond of these stories, little stories. So this is a story about a woodcutter, and this woodcutter was like making ready some trees for timber. So while he was sawing a tree, there was one person who was passing by, and he was seeing this woodcutter, and he was asking from him, "Okay, hi, how are you? How was your day? How many trees were you able to make ready for the timber?" And the woodcutter was like, he was very sad. He was like answering him, "Okay, actually, I was really hardworking, but I am also a very committed person. I was working very hard since morning, but still I was not able to cut much trees as I was expecting." Then the stranger who was passing by, he asked the $1,000,000 question: "Did you take any time to sharpen your saw?" So likewise, even in our lives, most of the times we are busy with our schedules, and also we are chasing our dreams, goals. But are we really taking some time to reflect our own selves? Are we really taking sometimes, as you said, as you mentioned, to look back our own selves? So I think this situation is something really vital for us to look back and see whether we are position ourselves right, or whether we are directing ourselves to the right direction. So in that case, I strongly believe that this is a great opportunity to reflect, because I think the reflecting on ourselves should be a practice. Normally, I do it on every Sunday night. Maybe if you can take 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours, maybe at least a couple of minutes on every day before you sleep. If you can reflect on yourself, then you might see where you have positioned yourself in your journey. Because unless you know where you are, it's really hard to direct yourself towards a goal, because you don't know where you are. So even though you have a map, if you don't know where you are in the map, it's very useless. Even though you are having a map, if you don't know where in that map you are located, you don't you don't have the proper usage of the map. So likewise, even in ourselves, I think we need to reflect on ourselves and to see where we are. And also, when we are dreaming, when we are like going behind or chasing our dreams or goals, sometimes we might feel that we have missed some important things in our lives. So in that case, I think recently I got to read this nice book from Stephen Covey, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. So it was like really nice book. And in that book, there was this particular section about personal mission statement. So in dealing with like producing a personal mission statement for yourself, it's not only about your educational goals or your professional goals, but also you need to think about different roles you play. Maybe as a son, maybe as a daughter, maybe as a spouse, maybe as a girlfriend or a boyfriend, maybe as a student. In these different roles, what should be your goals or roles? Because then you are focusing on them as well. It's not only educational or professional goals at the end of the day. As Shreya very correctly mentioned, it's at the end of the day, you should be happy. So in order to do that, as I mentioned in the very beginning, life is a total package. And if you're thinking of living your life after this global pandemic, it's not the right way, because now your life is happening right now and you need to live it. So I think I answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sachin. Now, Stephanie, are you there? Yes. Steph, my next question is to you. Now, you are a very busy person involved in show business, entertainment, and now when things come back to normal, I hope and pray that things come back to normal very, very soon, because, in fact, entertainment is, in fact, the last area that will come back to normalcy when things normalize, because of social distancing and these restrictions about people gathering, etc., etc. So my question is, what kind of changes should you want to do in your lifestyle after normalcy? And also, you need to understand that there'll be huge changes and transformations in your field of work. And how are you planning to, in fact, manage those changes? In fact, we really don't know what the changes will be, but forecasting or expecting those changes, how do you plan to manage those transformations?
Thanks, Clifford. So actually, for the first part of your question, saying what should change, like personally, I think Sachin, Shreya, and Vivek all so well put it, so eloquently. And thank you for, bringing the importance of talking about that internal change as well. It's very important, that you come
That's
out
why I
of
told
this
you to do
stage.
yoga.
Pardon?
That's why I told you to do yoga, which you never
I
did.
know. Clifford has been trying to get me to do yoga forever. I will be doing it soon. But yeah, so personal changes are be better, come out of this better, stronger, take time for your passions. I mean, I started learning piano during Corona, which is one of the things I've always wanted to do. I also started a new business whilst during Corona. So that's exciting. Um, but in terms of the entertainment industry, I think things might never go back to normal for the next 2 years. There's going to be a new normal. And right now, I have already started shooting for the Voice Tea in Sri Lanka. So I'm hosting it. And I can see so many changes. Everybody's wearing a mask. The mics are sanitized as soon as I use it, the mic is taken from me, sanitized every half an hour. Like the audience, the contestants, our hands are sanitized, our temperatures are checked, and also there's a huge. And one thing also is that one good thing that I've noticed is coming from Corona, I think we have learned to appreciate human beings a lot more and to have that communal bond a lot more because, see, all it takes is one person and to lie and say, yeah, I didn't travel outside Sri Lanka. Oh no, I don't have a cough. And who knows, they could be infecting how many other people, especially in a place that's with centralized AC. So I think there's a lot more, how do you say, respect for the others, where you be honest and say, you know what, I did have a tingling in my throat, so I'm not going to come in today. That was there already a little bit, I guess, in the corporate world, if you're sick, don't come in. But I think now it's really come home where people are thinking about each other. People are thinking about their neighbor. You've seen so many, even in my own apartment complex, so many people go and volunteer to buy the food stuff for the elderly. These are changes that we're all going to come out of, much better than how we entered in Corona, during the Corona times. We've become better human beings. And I think that's the most important thing. Because like Shreya said, at the end of the day, we're not here to just build up assets and win all these accolades. We're here to be happy and to leave a positive impact. And one of the things, Clifford, I always say when I do my motivational speeches, and one thing that has impacted me was, see, I almost died at the age of 21. And for me, that's when my life switched. I went from being a very insecure, not a risk taker, into this person who wanted to just swallow the world in one go and realize I'm not going to live my life with regrets. Because we all live with this thought that, okay, we're not going to die, or maybe we're the stars of our very own movie, where we always have this happy ending. But I think Corona really opened the eyes to that reality of, what, death is real and it could be you next. And when you live with that knowledge of your impermanence is when you are actually free to live your life to the fullest. So there's such a beautiful liberation in knowing that you're going to expire. And one of the things I always say is live your life in reverse. Think about your eulogy. How do you want to be remembered when you die? That will give you the biggest guideline as to how you want to live your life. So I think Corona has, yes, we lost so many people, so many families around the world are heartbroken. But for those of us who are here, those of us who are moving on, who have to live life, take this as a positive, as all these amazing panelists said. Take it in a positive light and make the most of it. And yeah, things will change here and there. They have to, for the sake of safety. But use this time to make a change in yourself, to be better than the person you were yesterday. So yeah, I hope I answered your question in a very long-winded kind of answer.
Thanks, thanks. Shreya, I'm now going to move on to you. I have a question. You need to answer this very fast, right? There's a sudden fire where you are right now. You take the left or the right door behind you?
The door.
Left one or the right one? Okay. Why I asked that question was is just joking, but the actual question is: imagine that you are a student, Shreya, the student, okay, and this pandemic strikes, and how will Shreya, the student, uh, spend the time during these days as a student?
Thank you, Clifford. I think I would love actually sharing what I've been doing past, I believe, almost 2 months. Um, India was in lockdown, I believe, from almost March 21st. And you won't believe it. I obviously didn't know how long that this would last, and how I have to just convert my entire routine into something that I'll be following for more than 2 months. But to be very honest, I did something like a student, and I believe I'm always a student because there's so much learning happening right now. And to be honest, I was supposed to be in London at this hour. I was traveling just on the 12th of March to London for a course, and I had to stop my travel. So my entire routine was dependent on, oh my God, the next 6 months I'm going to be somewhere else. But I suddenly had to make so many changes in my plan. But what I did, I believe on the 23rd or 24th of March itself, is that the same doors that you're seeing upstairs in my own room, I quickly took down some really colorful sticky notes. Okay, I'm being a total student here. I took down like small sticky notes and made a nice timetable for myself. So getting up at 7 to 8, I indulge in yoga. 8 to 9, I probably sing. 9 to 10, I've added in details like when I'm going to eat and what time should I sing or go, talk over to a friend. Like every day I made sure, I'm sure we had a lot of acquaintances who we've lost touch with. So I've written down that 1 hour I'm going to spend, calling one of my old friends and, catching up with them. So I've detailed down like that 3 hours probably when I'm, having lunch, I'm going to watch a movie with my mother and father. So 1 hour for my dog. So I've quickly written this down, and by the end of the night, by the end of the day, I go back and so 8 or 9, I want to finish my dinner, and 9 to 10, I want to take a stroll. I want to walk in my community. And I go back, and when I'm shutting the door, I know that I have ticks for few, and few I've definitely missed. So online courses were also a part of it. So I know how much assessment I've worked on. I know how much time I've taken for this. So every night I introspect as to what I've done for the day. And you know what? It's not like a checklist with someone else is going to check and is going to say, oh my God, you've done this or you've not done this. It's your own timetable and you get to do what you want to do. But the minute I check how much productive and unproductive things I've done for the day, I really get to understand what I want to do tomorrow. So I believe that, like everyone says, I've not just sat around getting up, waking up at 11 or 12 because, oh my God, it's COVID and I don't know what's going to happen, and, sleep for extra hours. My entire sleep cycle has actually become better. I'm actually sleeping in time and using less social media, like you were asking, Stephanie. I actually reduced it as to how much I used to do, because now I know how many hours I'm using for what. So I think making a simple timetable of something very colorful actually helped me look back at it and, check back my own timetable. But the best part is, like Sachinda mentioned that you need to take a break. You need to sharpen your skills. So it's not like this routine is 365 days plan, but I do take Sundays or one of the days that I don't feel like doing anything. I just sit and do absolutely nothing. I'm not so meticulous that I actually follow it. But the beauty of it is the next day I do double the work. It actually happens. I've sharpened, I've actually refreshed myself. I just didn't do anything. So I think taking timely breaks, having a Sunday in that week or in 10 days is beautiful. Just binge watch Netflix then. Just binge watch on others. Because you know what? The day you're going to look back and say, oh my God, we had 3 months of COVID and I didn't do anything. I will be heartbroken. I will actually be like anyone else would say, I wish I did something then. I don't want that. I want to say that I've utilized it to the maximum, at least learning how to meditate, or at least learning, wow, piano. And I'm learning Kathak. So this is something I wanted to do from very young age. And now I'm actually wearing my, I don't know what you call them, to the feet. And I love it. That 1 hour I spend dancing.
Question. What is Kata?
Kathak is a dance form in India. So it's mostly the northern part of it we do have Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam, and I've done a part of it, but Kathak is a new dance form and it's beautiful. I would love to show it sometime to you, Stephanie.
I'd love to.
So I'm just in the basics, but I will be giving my exams next year if everything's fine. May, we do have exams, so I'm preparing for that. So it's not like anything big has changed, but yes, there's a major change because I'm able to do so much in the given time, and I don't think I'm wasting any time. Even if I'm watching a movie with my parents, I think it's beautiful. It's no waste of time. It's spending time with my parents after such a long time. So I hope I answered the question, and I think just making a timetable for once will actually help you.
So, spending your time in the quality way, very, very positive vibes created there. So we have a Kathak dancer and we have a salsa dancer in our panels.
Oh, wow.
That's the salsa dancer.
We'll teach each other.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay, so Shreya, you've been a good student. The principal is going to be very happy about you.
Thank you.
Now we want to make Vivek sir a student. Vivek sir, you're a student now. How do you think you would spend this time as a student?
The mic.
I think your mic is, yours.
I've been a student of various things, and one of the things is sports, and I've been playing, believe it or not. Even though we were under lockdown, I have a little bit of a space outdoors, and I have played all kinds of sports in this time. I have actually played badminton, soccer, cricket, and I would have played tennis, but tennis is a little difficult to play in that space because the ball will go out of the area. And cricket, I played with my head down. I'm actually an under-19 cricketer in my school days, and Sri Lanka knows cricket pretty well. So India and Sri Lanka are both cricketing nations. And let me tell you, I've also done some interviews live for Playwright, which is our sports foundation, with great cricketers like Ian Botham, David Gower, Greg Chappell, Dilip Vengsarkar. So I have been the host of those shows, and it has been a dream come true for me to be a student while they have been speaking and asking them questions. As you said, I'm also a founder of the Chandigarh Literary Society. I'm an author of 3 books. So I have been interviewing some authors who are world famous or Indian level. And I've had Naomi Datta in one of them. I had Anuja Chauhan, who's one of India's best-selling authors. So it's been great to have these webinars also. And I've been speaking to a lot of youth on emotional intelligence, leadership. I've been speaking on calmness, people skills, public speaking skills, and I've also been speaking on life skills. And I've been speaking about my book, Finding Success Within. So I found this period to be very busy for me in terms of having a regular kind of office in which I have a webinar in the morning, one in the evening. Today, you won't believe it, this is my third appearance at a webinar, and I have one more at 6 p.m. India time. So half an hour after this one finishes, I have another one. So it's absolutely crazy, but it's absolutely important for me to keep busy. You see, if I am able to give back even 1% positivity to anybody who's listening, I think that this person's life will change. I'll also add one more thing. Yesterday, I recorded a video on domestic violence and how domestic violence has increased during this time. I will be sharing that video by tomorrow or tonight, and it will probably reach you as well. So I've also been focusing on important social issues. And the other thing I must add is empathy for those who cannot find even the means to eat food during the lockdown. So my family and I, we did our best to feed as many people from the poorer sections of society as we could. So that's all I've been doing. I've been spending time with my two daughters and my wife, and we have a little school ground where I'm situated. She runs a toddler's school, my wife, and obviously it's closed now, but we have enough space. And we also have a little beagle, and like Shreya, I spend time with the beagle, who's a very naughty little gentleman called Joey. So that's all I've been doing, and reading lots of books, which I love doing.
In fact, we have four very interesting panelists because they have definitely made use of this COVID-19 pandemic time for a lot of changes in their lives to do things that they've never dreamt of doing before, and which means they've really kept themselves occupied, which means they have had a huge workload on a daily basis. Now, when things normalize, we need to find out how you're going to, in fact, manage what
Can
you've
I
been
just,
doing.
sorry, Clifford, just to say that doesn't mean that we didn't catch up on hours of sleeping. We did do that too. I know I did.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Now you
busy
better
every
get up
single
at
day.
better get up at about 8 o'clock, not 10, 11 o'clock. Yeah. So
Sorry,
with
just
this
had to add that.
with this huge workload, unusual workload, you can't call it workload because I mean you've done it not because someone forced you to do it. You have done it because you are so passionate about what you have engaged into recently. Now, how do you kind of manage this in a favorable way when things normalize? Sachin, my question is to you.
Well, Clifford. So yes, we might have to deal with like a huge workload, work pile once we go back to our workplaces and also our universities. But I think in one way we need to be flexible as well. As I mentioned in the very beginning, we need to support each other. So in that case, sometimes we might have to think about the possibilities where we can go the extra mile for our employers, and also as university students, you may have to cooperate with the university administration in order to make sure that your courses are end on time. Maybe you might have to work on excessive hours. So in that case, one way to do it is like your mindset. So you need to have positive mindset to support, and you need to support each other and try to work on those workload. And also the most important thing is how you manage your time. So when it comes to time management, sometimes you might have heard of Eisenhower time matrix. So in simple terms, two questions are to be asked. One is it urgent, and is it important? Is it urgent or is it important? If it qualifies for the both questions, if the answer is a yes, you can do it now. Most of the deadlines we are dealing with, most of the submissions for our assignment, research thesis falls on this category. So you can do it right now because it has a deadline. You need to do it right now. And there are certain things which are not important, but it's urgent. Maybe a meeting, or maybe a phone call, maybe an email. If it is something which can be delegated to someone else, you can delegate it to someone else. And also, there are certain things which are really important, but it might not be urgent. But I would like to focus on this category because sometimes it can be the time you spend on seeking a new opportunity on the internet. Maybe it's the time you spend on relationship building. As Shreya mentioned, she was talking to all friends. And also maybe it's the time you spend on reading something relevant to your subject field, an extra article or a material to expand your knowledge. So those things you can schedule it. But still, unfortunately, what happens is we schedule it, but still we might not be able to do it, or we just miss it with the activities we might have to do it on deadline. So we need to at least dedicate a particular time period in each day to do these activities which are really important but maybe not urgent, but we need to focus on these activities as well, because those are the activities at the end of the day which build our capacity, which can build our capacity. So, and also Mr. Try very correctly mentioned, once we finish this global pandemic, hopefully we do not have to go back to the normal life. Of course we can go back to better lives. Why should we settle for less? So in that case, sometimes you might feel that, okay, most of the people are saying like, okay, going back to normal lives, what is normal? This is what we call normal, Rao, because if you think few months back, maybe in last December, if you go out and if you see a person with a face mask, what would you feel? The spotlight will be on that person, right? But now if you go out without a face mask, the spotlight will be on you. Even the cops might stop you and ask you to wear the face mask. So things change in a strange manner. That's how it happens. So in that case, this is the new normal. You need to deal with it. And also just think about young entrepreneurs. If you are a young entrepreneur, if you trying to deal with your customers as you were doing it before, it's not the way to go ahead, because the customers requirements might have changed, and also the market need might have changed. So you need to deal with the new normal. So that's how we can address this manner in a very productive way. And also going back to the huge workloads, at the end of the day, yes, we have to do it, but it's all about our time management and also about our positive mindset. So I think, and also if we really need to bring out the magic within ourselves, we need to expand our comfort zones as well. Because if you need to be a person who is outstanding, you might have to do something which is outstanding. But if you think that, no, I'm fine with this, it's not the way to go ahead. Because at the end of the day, your happiness relies on your achievements and also things you do for your happiness, maybe the things you do for your fashion. So in that case, you need to expand your comfort zone, because nothing grows in your comfort zone. And also, whatever the things we go through right now, I really like this quote: whatever the things you go through, you grow through. So I think this is a situation like that we can make it an opportunity and maximize it.
Definitely, we've had a lot of challenges, and they say challenges are blessings in disguise. And you definitely find examples of people who have made use of this opportunity of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and transformed your lives into extraordinary. And this is a live stream titled "Let's Reboot," a webinar series. In fact, this is the final one in a series of three, and this one is titled "Bring Out the Magic in You." And we have four eminent panelists bringing out the magic in them. And definitely, those magical words are definitely motivating all of us watching and connected with this live stream. And this is organized by AIESEC in the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, in collaboration with AIESEC in Chandigarh, India. And it is very encouraging to note that we have an international youth-run, non-governmental, not-for-profit organization providing the platform and opportunity for young people with leadership development and also cross-cultural internships and global volunteer exchange experiences. And we need to congratulate the global AIESEC community, and in particular, the AIESEC in University of Peradeniya for organizing this Let's Reboot webinar series. All right, now moving on to my next question, which is going to be posed to Shreya. Shreya, our perception towards life is different during different phases in life. It's obvious. Well, every act that we perform today, in fact, uh, impacts our life in one way or another. Now, so how can we choose good things How can we choose good things? What are your views on that? And what are the tips that we should know to, get in this path of knowing how we should be continuing to do good things?
Thank you, Clifford. And like you rightly said, I think life is not about just one phase. I think we'll just get bored if we're just driving long on a very long road with no speed breakers at all, or with no policemen, like Sachinda said, who'd stop us for masks right now. I think it's very possible. More than traffic signals, we're going to have these policemen stopping us. And yeah, I think life has different phases, just like can we say, like the earth has number of seasons, our planet has number of seasons. So I'd request all of you to actually come on a ride with me and close your eyes for a moment and think of a peak summer, like terribly drenched with sweat, and you don't want to step out of the house. You have no ACs or fans working, unfortunately, and you are dripping, or maybe your AC is working and you're sitting all day just in that AC room and don't want to step out. Will you be thinking of just that, or would you rather like it this way? There's peak summer outside, and you have an ice cream right in front of you. It's almost melting and you're licking it away and you're finding so much peace while you're doing it. I think having chilled water or a cool drink itself would give you so much happiness. So I'd rather see it that way. Or, okay, let's go back to another season, probably rainy, the monsoon. And I'm sure Sri Lanka has a lot of beautiful rains there and with so much greenery. And trust me, would you rather think of it being, oh my God, if I step out of the house, I'm going to be drenched. Oh my God, will the clothes dry up? Or it's monsoon and it's going to take a lot of time? Or would you think of the mud that you'll have to step into and you'll come back with your shoes all dirty and your pants all filled with mud? Or rather, sit by the corner, watch the beautiful rain touch the leaves and make it all green and beautiful and freshen the air, and probably have a chai and a samosa with it, or have a hot cup of nice tea, and have
You're making me hungry, Shreya.
Yes, yes, yes.
So do I, Shreya.
I
I
take
really
that
want a
from
nice
that chai.
tea.
But with tea, or smell the fresh mud. I think it's one of the best smells on this planet. I think that fragrance of just that fresh mud after monsoon is beautiful. So would you rather see it that way? So like Sachinda was taking us on stories, I would say that there are ways to look at things. I could rather see it in a way that, oh my God, I hate monsoon or I hate the winters. Or I could say that I could do things which will make that place better. So there's not always good. I think the question says, what are those good ways and how to stick to them and how to neglect the bad. But to be honest, we have both. We have to deal with both when we are living on this planet. And to stick to that phase and to look at just the good side of it, we are not saints. We cannot just say that, okay, just shut the bad and just look at the best part. No, my dress would get muddy, I will drench in the rain no matter what. But it's how I look at it and what I'm going to take back from that. So if I'm looking at a bad situation I'm in right now, and if I could tell you that, what are we learning from here? And that's what we are here for. I think all four of us are talking about how beautifully we can mold the situation that we're in right now, not just counting probably the death rate or looking at just the news and feeling bad and awful about it, but how else can we introspect and see how well we can change this for our own selves, our own lives. So I think just to pick on the best parts of what we're facing. So every phase has a good and bad. And the most important aspect that people, it sounds funny, but I believe I've mentioned this in one of my TED Talks, that moving on. You know, it sounds very easy, but it's as difficult. Like you're in a relationship and you will have, probably it breaks, unfortunately, God forbid, but it breaks. And if you stick on to why this has happened, you know, take your time, you know, but time does heal things. I've come from a phase where I've moved on to certain things, and that's why I'm able to live. Like Stephanie mentioned that, you know, she was at a point where she was about to end her life at 21, and look where she is. We don't have another Stephanie, we don't have another Vivek sir, we don't have another Sachinda. So you are here. If what if we all stopped at that phase where we were feeling bad, or we were feeling restless? I'm sure all of them had those phases. What if we was just stuck there? What if Einstein, Sachin Tendulkar, or an Aishwarya Rai stayed back in their bad phases? They wouldn't have known for what they are known for right now. So I believe it's just a matter of taking those learnings from the bad situations, taking the best from the good situations, being happy and moving forward and accepting that, okay, the situation happened. Let me not cry about it. Let me accept it in the right manner and move forward. I think that's the best way to move towards the path of light.
Actually, you mentioned many examples about people who brought out their magic in them. Fine examples. And definitely, you also have the opportunity of bringing out the magic in you more and more, because when you dig deep into yourself, you find more and more potential. And that's how you can bring out the magic in you for the betterment of yourself and also the people around you. Right. By the way, we told you that if you have any question to the panelists, you can post your questions or your comments, and you can use the comment facility to do that. And we'll be taking your questions after we have the relevant questions posed to our panelists. And the Q&A, a short Q&A will happen just before we wind up. Now, moving on to the next question, there are, you know, this, in fact, question is to Vivek. There is this stereotype of profession, or a couple of professions, where those days, in the good old days, your mom or your dad would say, Puta, or daughter, you need to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. That was it. Yes. Did I cover that all? Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a stereotype set of professions. And if you kind of thought of engaging in a different profession, you're like, you know, not a good guy or a good lady. So, do you think that this is a good time, Vivek, that we can, in fact, invest our time or ponder on this, on our real pursuits of preference, without, you know, running behind those so-called stereotype professions where our parents or our elders have pushed us into? What are your opinions?
Yes, Clifford, you're absolutely right. Let me say you're asking very good questions to all of us. I'm sure Stephanie, Shreya, and Sachinda are enjoying it as much as I am. And let me also say that stereotypes are now to be discarded, and creativity is the name of the game. Those who are creative are those who are successful. And creativity is intelligence having fun. That's what Einstein said. I'm not saying it. Albert Einstein said creativity is intelligence having fun. Now, what is this kind of creativity? So, if we cannot be creative in the era of the internet, when all kinds of mind boggling ideas are available to us, best practices from across the world are available to us, there are people who could have been working for Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan Stanley. They're actually playing music in the streets of New York for a living when lockdown is not there. So there are people who have shed their suits and they're in their beach shorts and their t-shirts, and they're earning a living out of creative pursuits like sketching on the spot or writing poetry. So it is a time to be creative today. And I have been encouraging all my listeners and youth to be creative. I have 2 million views on YouTube. Very humbly, I must tell you. On 2 million views on YouTube, all I talk about being an all rounder, being multi-dimensional, So try to not explore only one avenue of your life, straight jacketing. Supposing you are an accountant. Now, I am not an accountant, so I can't see too much excitement in accounting. But if you love your work, be good at accounting, sit in front of the computer and type out all those numbers as much as you like. But go back home and play the guitar or do the salsa or the kathak like Shreya and you said, and maybe cook something for your family. Maybe write a poem which is totally unexpected from an accountant. A creative guy or a creative lady will find more fulfillment in life, more satisfaction and more happiness in life. I'll tell you a short story as well. There was a monk who came and sat outside a village and he started meditating all 24 hours of the day. The villagers never saw him sleeping. He was always meditating. And they would go to him, bow before him, and come back. And suddenly, one man goes to him and says, Monk, I know you have a diamond with you. I want that diamond. And the monk gives him the diamond. So this man is very surprised how easily he got the diamond. He says, are you sure I can take it with me? He says, yeah, it's yours now. So he goes back. It's a very expensive diamond, but he doesn't know what to do with it. He's so flabbergasted by the monk giving him the diamond. He can't sleep at night. 1 week later, he goes back to the monk and he says, please take back your diamond. I don't want it. So the monk says, why? You could have become a very rich man. He said, I don't want this diamond. I want that which made you give me this diamond. What is it in you that made you give me this diamond so quickly? So this monk obviously had something superior to the diamond within him. He had inner peace, he had equanimity, he had peace of mind, he didn't care for material possessions. Now that kind of mindset may not be possible for you and me. We are human, we are not monks. I mean, at least I don't think you are. And the thing is that we are basically trying to make a living at the same time as being happy. But if we adopt a calm mind like that, where we are not possessive about our possessions, where we are not wedded to money and property consciousness, if we elevate our consciousness higher above and we become, in a super conscious mind, how can we do that? There are two ways. One is meditation. The other is creativity. The joy that painting something outdoors will give you, or photography, or singing, like Shreya said, she sings for an hour. I mean, that kind of thing will give you a meditative joy, which will raise your consciousness above materialistic normalcy. And then your life will become more fulfilling. So I firmly believe, shed stereotypes, have a living which brings home the bread, very important. However, spend as much time as you can in breaking barriers of the mind. And don't worry about what people think all the time. We have to live in a society, we have to be in limitations, but don't keep worrying about them. And that auntie who lives next door and she meets you once a month and tells you, son, you don't study, I know. It doesn't matter what she thinks. You know that you study or don't study. So just don't worry too much about what people think also. Then you can shatter stereotypes, Clifford.
Vivek, thank you very much.
Can I just say one thing, Vivek? I think I love everything that you've said, and I think one thing also that my husband and I realization is you have to realize that everything, like Vivek said, all these material things, all these accolades, all these things are all man-made. It's all us humans made this to pass our time as we exist till our death. So
we are the people who
go
set those
beyond
standards.
that. Pardon?
We are the people who set those standards.
We are the ones who said, okay, we're going to have a certificate given for this, or we are going to give an award for this accomplishment. But who's the one who put the measuring stick? We did, because we want to do something while we're here living. So it's man-made. So what Vivek said, like that, more than that diamond, it's that inner peace. And just remember that. Sorry, I had to add that. Sorry.
Thank you so much, sir. I agree. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Steffi, we are almost coming to the end of our discussion, and soon after this question maybe, we'll be moving on to a couple of questions that have been sent by our viewers. So this one last question is to Stephanie. Stephanie, looking at looking back at your journey of your career and you know significant milestones in your life, with your experience gained, just in a nutshell, can you give us some insights that you would like to share, particularly with the youth of Sri Lanka and the world?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the biggest lessons I've learned, I think it was Sachin who said it. Uh, Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. I was an activist when I was in Canada. I was in student politics. Then I came to Sri Lanka, became Miss Sri Lanka. Then everyone expected me to go into modeling, but I was curious. I started my foundation because it was close to my heart. Then I was a dancer, so I started singing, not even dancing yet that time. So be curious, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and only when you're uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone do you grow, because when you're comfortable you're just stagnant.
When you're
And
challenged,
you will never know your true potential and the amazing things that you can achieve unless you put yourself and push yourself in uncomfortable situations, because then you grow, you will blossom. So try new things, be hungry to explore, be a yes person. A lot of things in my life, it was because I said yes when I should have logically said no. But I said, I'm going to challenge myself. And then that's what happened. And then my life unfolded. And also remember, be unapologetically you. There's only one you in this entire universe. There's only one you. No one else can even imagine how to be you. I truly believe that God made you perfect in the way you are. So just be you no matter what. Be honest about who you are and be confident in who you are, because no one else can be you and you can't be anybody else. So resonate that. Let the world, fill the world with your light that only you can bring. And I would like to, I don't have the full quote with me now. If you don't mind my screen going off for 2 seconds, I will share. This is the most inspiring quote which has helped me throughout my journey. So give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to show it to you. It's, sorry, I can't. That scares us. It's a quote. I think it was in the movie. It's by Marianne Williamson, and it goes, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and you playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in every single one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. So I just had to share that because it's a quote that has given me a lot of inspiration. If you don't believe in God, just take the God part out of there and, just go with the words of it. So shine at your brightest, be you, and get uncomfortable.
Very beautiful quote.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you very much. All right, guys, panelists, we have a couple of questions that have been sent by our viewers. And let me now quickly move on to those questions. One is sent by Dasuni Alhako. It says to Sachinder sir, uh, all of us have a comparatively high workload. How can we manage it in a favorable way while moving back to normal life? I think we answered that question. But anyway, Sachin, if you'd like to comment further on that.
Yeah, Clifford. So I missed one thing to mention, like when we are dealing with high workloads, I think we need to do some prioritization as well. If that prioritization comes, it will be really easier for us to manage the work. And also when we do some activity planning, that's comes kind of a coping strategy when we are dealing with high workload. So if you can plan activities like Shreya mentioned, like if you can have a kind of a checklist where you, and also like it's kind of a, if you see the new generation of time management tools, it's almost like planning maybe for a whole week. Maybe sometimes it says if you plan for in a daily basis, sometimes it might also cause some stress. So if you can take maybe a Sunday night, 1 hour in Sunday night, and if you can plan the rest of the week, yes, there will be, of course, there may be some spontaneity because you can't plan everything in advance. But still, if you can plan certain things well ahead in advance, so it will be much easier to handle this high workloads, I guess.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
I
much.
hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, that's sent by Dasuni Alahakun. Dasuni, hope your question is answered. And there's another question. It does not say from whom it is. Have you ever thought that you should change the career in your life? That's to Vivek, sir.
Yes, I have thought. In fact, I changed my career and I resigned from the civil services. And yes, changing careers is actually a good idea at times, because what happens sometimes we get into a career which is not giving us the joy. And after a while, in service, I felt that I'm not creative enough in the government. I want to change my career and get into something which is more me. And I think my personality goes well with motivational speaking. I know all of us are motivational speakers in a way. Shreya is, Sachinda is, and Stephanie is, and I'm sure Clifford is also. So the thing is that we need more motivational speakers and less government officers. We need people to be inspired and motivated. So I think I made this career switch after great thought. And any youngster who is into a stream which he finds or she finds is uncomfortable, there are many opportunities. But before making the switch, you must make sure that you have covered all bases. You have thought out your plan. Don't jump overnight. Take a year or two before you switch, cover everything, and then plunge into it after great planning and thought. So I have become successful as a motivational speaker because I honed my skills while in service. I started speaking, I started writing, I started advising some universities, and now I have a large following on social media and other places. So I think it is only when you are sure of yourself, then you change your career.
Thanks, Vivek. The next question is to, it says to Shreya Madam. Shreya Madam, this question is for you. Have you seen or noticed any negative points where youth should have been more responsible than they are now with their behavior in order to overcome the current crisis?
Uh, if I may say, if I like to repeat the question, so are they talking about the present situation or in life with the negative thoughts?
It says, have you seen or noticed any negative points where you should be have been more responsible than they are now? So it's not very specific. Negative points where youth should have been more responsible than they are now with their behavior in order to overcome the current crisis.
Right. So I believe if I could understand the part of the question and say that being responsible and understanding where you've gone wrong only happens once the mistake is committed. So there is no way where I would sit and regret, because I've come so far after the circumstances that life has put me through. And I think each one of us has only grown, and I could vouch for it that I'm only growing in this process, and there is no point where I want to sit and regret and get stuck on to the current crisis. So if I have committed certain mistakes, I am sure I would learn about what went wrong, and see the light towards it and see how I do not have to repeat certain things. It could be behavior, it could be a situation that has been caused. And if we are talking about COVID and how I'm keeping that away, is like everyone has mentioned, I've never believed in meditation. I've never believed in sitting quietly. I'm not that girl who can just sit all by myself and look within. It's as difficult. But I think we're all in that process of finding ourselves. So I think one of the best ways is singing. I'm just not singing, but I'm learning the Bhagavad Gita. I'm actually watching Mahabharata. I'm learning how we are meant to make mistakes. So I always used to pose this question to my mother that, why did Krishna have to actually let the Mahabharata happen? He could have just stopped it. He could have just told Duryodhana that, dude, you're wrong. Just stop what you're doing. But it would have been just easier for him to kill him. But I think all the learnings that we are getting, the reason why we're going through certain things and why certain people are a certain way, why are they so negative, is only for us to learn how to teach them, how to look at the positives, or how to try help them, or just accept that they are that way and move on from the negative people. So I think that Mahabharata is giving me a huge lesson for life, and I only wish that a lot more people learn about it. I'm not as religious, but this is something that I'm really binge watching on my Netflix, not like the others binge watching on other English series. Mahabharata is actually caught on to my attention, and there's such beautiful lessons. So
Is it? It's on Netflix? Sorry.
I think it's on Hotstar. I'm not very sure if Hotstar is available in Sri Lanka, but Hotstar does have Mahabharata episodes. Yes,
Okay.
it's beautiful. They're long series, but there's so much learning from each episode.
I have the comics.
Oh, you have the comic.
I got from India actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And even each shloka that I'm learning through Bhagavad Gita, they are just they're just beautiful lessons. So I think that's keeping me very safe from negativity right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another question that comes from, I'm not sure from whom it comes from. It goes to Satinder. It says, Satinder, sir, how does he manage all the things he does? I mean, he does a lot of stuff, it says. How does he manage all the things he does? Yeah, again, it says, I mean, he does a lot of stuff. Sachin, over to you.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Actually, whatever things I do, I really enjoy them. I think that's the only secret behind that. Because I have seen this quote, when you enjoy your job, you don't have to work for a single day. Likewise, whatever things I do, I enjoy them. So I need to give this lesson to all the young people out there, because sometimes there are situations you might come across where you need to do certain things. You must do. There are things which you must do. In that case, if you can't change the situation, if you can't avoid it, just love it. Then at least like you got the power to get engage yourself in it, and also you don't feel like a burnout. So I think you need to enjoy your life, because as Stephanie very correctly mentioned, at the end we all die. So we are here to live. So we are writing our legacy, and we need to live our life, because life is happening right now.
Thank you. Enjoy what you do. Shreya, there's another question. This is coming from Anushman Arora.
Yes.
Anushman Arora wants to know, Shreya, how to stay mentally fit during this lockdown. Following a strict timetable might affect us mentally sometimes. What do you say about that? Well, you spoke, many people spoke about that. Would like to add on to anything?
Lovely. I think Anshuman Arora, if I'm not wrong. And absolutely lovely question. Like I mentioned, yes, make a meticulous timetable. But I'm not sure if you've heard me saying that I have a timetable which includes movies, which includes a lot of singing, which includes a lot of activities which help me be more creative, like Vivek sir mentioned. It's not a timetable which will affect you mentally. I know looking at it, and there might be times at night I'm like, oh my God, I've done none of them. But like Sachinda said, take a break. If you don't feel like doing anything for an entire 1 day or 2 days or probably for a week, just don't do anything. Trust me, it really helps you sharpen yourself, refresh yourself. You might not want to kill yourself with so much burden. You're giving self homework. In schools we run away from homework, but here when I say make a timetable and follow it, uh, please does not intend the intention is not to say that be very strict with yourself, but just be very calculative of how you're spending your time. That will actually give you a lot of understanding of what are you doing, what are the activities, are they productive or unproductive, or if you believe that they are unproductive, then how else could you make them productive and spend that same 1 hour in a better manner. But most importantly, I think more than anything, do take a break. If you haven't taken a break so far, I think in 25 years of my life, I don't remember the time where I actually sat down like this at home for 24 hours, spending it just thinking what to do. I think that itself, taking that one break and actually analyzing your entire life, God has given us a beautiful time to look at what we are actually doing, what we are running for, and why are we in a race. That itself, don't put yourself in a race again by making a timetable, but look for what activities you wanted to do and what you want to do in the future, what you want to continue. I might continue some of these activities for the later, like yoga I would love to continue. There is Kathak which I want to do, so I've set new goals, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to spend that 1 hour talking to an old friend anymore once I get back to my routine of working. So don't don't bind yourself with the timetable, but make the timetable only to let yourself access to, oh my god, I have these many things to do. I don't have, help your mother in cooking. That is one of the that is one of my list. That 1 hour I want to spend with my mother, just looking at her cook. I actually don't do much. My mother does not let me. She's like very quick with her work. So I just observe. I think that itself makes me hit up a conversation with her and makes me and her relax. She knows what her daughter's doing now, and I know what my mother's up to right now. So yeah, don't hit yourself up with it. Just be very calculative at a certain level. Most importantly, if you think it's mentally disturbing you, then take like a week off, take a month off. I think we have that leverage right now. Take that time off and just binge watch something. Just think of nothing but nothing. Just think of nothing. Keep yourself blank and then get back to work. That's when I'm sure you will do the 1 week's work that you were supposed to do. You will finish it in 2 days. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
That's a very hectic schedule, Shreya. Now, you mentioned about Kathak dancing, yoga, cooking, so many things you mentioned.
Singing.
And this is quite, sorry?
Singing.
And this is quite relevant, Shreya.
The tedious, sorry.
This one to you, Shreya. It says, ask Shreya madam to sing a song.
I shouldn't have mentioned singing at all. After having such beautiful singers on the panel list, I wouldn't dare sing.
These are challenges. These are opportunities that come.
Question. I'm passing.
You were about to ask.
No, I'm very gently passing this question. It's a humble request. I would actually love Stephanie and Clifford to sing for us. I'll probably tag it on, I swear.
Actually, Shreya, we would love to hear you sing.
I would sing, Stephanie. I'll probably do the chorus part for you. I think it'll be lovely. Please, I really wish to listen to both of you. I will tag along. I swear.
All right. So, unfortunately, time is running out, and we've been having a very enjoyable over 1 hour session of Let's Reboot, the final in this webinar series organized by AIESEC University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka in collaboration with the AIESEC in Chandigarh, India. And Steffi, we have a bit of a problem now. Stephanie,
Yeah, I'm here.
we have a bit of a problem
Okay. What's the
because
problem?
we have a bit of a challenge now because the organizers say that they want both of us to sing before we wind up.
See, it was a request.
No. If
Please
Shreya
do.
doesn't sing, I'm not singing. We're all singing together or no one's singing.
Okay. Now, okay, let's do something like this. Generally, we are good at, Steffi, you will agree with me. We are generally good at getting the audience engaged. Okay. So we have a visual audience, which is the three of you or the four of you. And I think we should get them engaged. Correct, Steffi?
I agree.
I'm in. I'm in.
Now, how are you going to get them engaged?
Shreya, what's your favorite song?
Oh my God, that's one of the most difficult questions. But do
That you
you
like to sing?
do you listen to Bollywood? I wanted to ask you this. I was curious. Do you both listen to Bollywood?
I've listened to a few, not as much as I'd like to, but
So,
I've
do you
listened
know a
to.
song from Bollywood that you could sing for us?
No. I don't. But
I'm sure they would
I
love
would love to. Do you know the song I really like? Oh man, what is the name of that song? It recently came out. It was a play on A Star Is Born, but an Indian version.
Oh, it's the
Sun
Ashiki 2.
Reha Ho Sun Reha.
Ashiki 2, right?
Yes.
That took me a while to understand the Hindi, but yeah, Sun
So
Raha,
Clifford, I engaged, okay?
I'm so sorry. How do you say it?
Sun Raha Hai Na Tu. Sun Raha Hai Na Tu. रो रही हूँ मैं सुन रहा है ना तू क्यों रो रही हूँ मैं I hope that was
Super. Yeah, well done.
Wonderful.
Made up for all of us.
Congrats. So, guys, it was wonderful, being the moderator, and once again, a huge thank you.
Made me sing and both of you skipped the song.
Just to tell you that, we definitely are so happy and proud of how you have made use of this spare time that has just come upon all of us, Vivek, Stephanie, Ashra, and Sachinder. And the way you do the things you do are really great. Don't you think, Steph?
Thank you so much for inviting
I thought-
us, and
I thought
it's been a
we'll
pleasure.
get them to sing that and end our program with that. Stephanie, are you with me? Hello? He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
It seems so.
We've lost Stephanie.
Oh, you.
So once again, a huge thank you to Vivek. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Freya, Sachin, Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Clifford.
It's like we've lost her.
No, I'm here.
And big thanks.
Okay.
Okay. She was
Thank
preparing.
you all. I have an
Telling them.
engagement. I've got to rush. So keep in touch, all of you, and enjoy yourself and
Right.
stay happy.
Thank you very much. And okay,
Sorry,
Steph.
my internet went. So did Shreya sing for us?
Yes.
No.
Oh no. Okay, I have to try and put it live on Facebook now.
Yes,
Steph,
please.
I was just telling them that we love the way they do the things.
They
They
do.
do.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
Shreya, I would
let's
love to
do
meet
that.
you in person one day.
I swear, Stephanie, I think last year my parents were in Sri Lanka. I had to miss the trip because I was in pageant, but I would love to visit and I'll get in touch with all of you. So thank
Once
you.
you're there, please.
Family.
Once you're here.
Yes, for sure. Once travel is ready, we are ready.
Thank you very much. Steph, shall we end with that song? You need to say the way you do the things you do. Okay.
Oh my
Ready?
God.
Wow.
Where you gonna do anything that you wanna do, and I can say the way you do the things you do,
The way you do
the
the
way
things
you do
you
the things
do.
you do,
The way you
the
do
way
the
you do
things
the
you
things you do, the way you The things you do. Thank you very much, everyone.
Sachin, it was so nice to see you.